Good morning, students. In English literature, we are doing lesson 10. Topic of the lesson is The Great Stone Face-2 and the author is Nathaniel Hawthorne. So, in the previous worksheet of this lesson, we have done the word meanings and make sentences, and in today's class, I will explain you the question answers related to the lesson. Question number 1 is, how was the Ernest different from others in the valley? Answer is, the wise thoughts of Ernest made him different from others in the valley. He was a good and simple-hearted man. He became famous beyond the valley. So the difference between the other people of the valley and Ernest was that Ernest was a very noble, was a very good and simple man, and his wise thoughts made him different from others, and that's why he became famous out of the valley also. Question number 2 is, why did Ernest think the poet was like the stone face? Answer is, the poet wrote songs. He had mentioned the great stone face in one of his poems. When Ernest read this poem, he felt that the poet was like the stone face. So the author wrote songs and he mentioned the great stone face in one of his poems. And when Ernest read that poem, he felt that the poet was like the stone face. Question number 3 is, what did the poet himself say about his thoughts and poem? So what did the poet say about his thoughts? Answer is, the poet confessed that he was not worthy to be compared with the stone face. His actions did not match with his thoughts. So when Ernest said that the poet resembles the stone face, so the poet confessed that he is not worthy to be the stone face, that he cannot be compared with the stone face because his actions and his thoughts did not match. Question number 4 is, what made the poet proclaim Ernest was the stone face? Proclaim means announce. Answer is, when Ernest was addressing the inhabitants of the valley. Inhabitants means people who belong to a particular place. When Ernest was addressing the inhabitants of the valley, the poet realized that the life and character of Ernest was nobler than his works of poetry. So when the poet saw Ernest when he was addressing to the neighbors, he realized that the life and character of Ernest was greater than his works of poetry. At a distance, the great stone face appeared with white mists around it. Similarly, the white hair around the brow of Ernest. At that moment, poet proclaimed that the Ernest was the stone face. So when the poet saw Ernest, there was white hair around his brow, and at the same time when he saw the stone face, there was white mist around the stone face. So at that moment, the poet announced that Ernest was the stone face. So these were the question answers which I have explained you. Thank you everyone.